Welcome, good evening. We're going to do a practice today focused on the throat chakra. So I mentioned last week that the throat chakra and our large intestine meridian have a lot of similarities in terms of things that can go wrong in the body if that energy is out of balance. And our large intestine meridian does run through the throat. So I think there's a lot of correlation between the two, and I thought it would be a good one for us to focus on today. So that's what we're going to do. Just before I start, just a reminder that the next 2 weeks are going to be recordings. So unfortunately, I can't be available in the evening for the next 2 weeks. And then the 3rd week after that is our last week for term. And I'll remind you, but that'll be a request class, so where you can ask for particular parts of the body or particular shapes that you've liked to do in that last class. All right, so let's come into our space and start our practice for tonight. Just bringing yourself to a comfortable position and closing down the eyes or taking an unfocused gaze, turning your insight inwards. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which I am practicing today, the Wadawurrung people. I'd like to pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and to their continuing connection with land, waters, and skies. I'd also like to pay my respects to the elders of the lands on which you are practicing, and also acknowledge my own ancestors. So coming into our space today, I'm going to use a mindfulness meditation from Anodea Judith's Chakra Yoga to bring us really aligned with our throat chakra energy at the very start of our practice today. So the element, if you like, for this energy is sound. So just starting by listening to the sounds in your body, starting with your breath. Follow the rhythm of your breath as you inhale and exhale, not forcing anything or trying to control it in any way, just listening to the air flowing in and out of your nostrils or your mouth. Beneath the breath, listen for your heartbeat. Feel it as a vibrating organ at the center of your being, an organ whose vibrations flow rhythmically throughout your body, through every artery. And now perhaps notice the rhythm of your thoughts. Ignore the content of your thoughts, but imagine that you can listen to the cadence and tone of your thoughts as if you were listening to a muffled conversation in another room. See how your breath, your heartbeat, and your inner thoughts all dance to a single rhythm, each playing their individual parts. Feel the harmony of each part in concert with the others. And now begin to listen to the sounds around you. Listen to any sounds of nature, or people, or machinery. Imagine that you can hear conversations outside of your space, even if you can't. There are definitely other people out there. Imagine you can hear conversations that are being broadcast on the radio or the television. conversations that are occurring in other buildings, shops, restaurants, theatres. Imagine you can float above your city or your town and listen to the chorus of the whole area as one single song. Then imagine that you float higher and you can listen to the whole chorus of your state, of the state of Victoria. And then you float even higher and listen to the whole chorus of Australia. And then right out into space, you can listen to the whole chorus of planet Earth. Imagine this collective sound as one primordial Om, resonating all around you and deep within you. When you've heard that, come back to your body and your breath. Listen for the Om inside you, like the background buzz of your internal motor. Imagine your own Om in harmony with all the other sounds that you have heard. When you can internally imagine your Om as part of this whole symphony, you might like to take a breath and on your exhale, let that sound out. Perhaps softly at first and then letting it grow louder and louder. Even if you don't want to let that sound out, just imagine that sound vibrating through your body. And now take your fingers to your throat and feel all the subtle vibrations beneath your fingers. Feel the resonance of your system in the bones of your head, the back of your neck, your shoulders, and all the way down your arms to your fingers. Imagine the vertical cord of your soul resonating with the clearest frequency in harmony with everything around you, part of the chorus of life, joyful and creative. And gradually let the sound of Om get very quiet until you only hear it inside yourself, in harmony with the murmur of your thoughts once again. And taking 3 final breaths to close this mindfulness practice. Perhaps still leaving your fingers at your throat to feel the vibration of the breath. And then moving slowly to bring yourself to do a toe squat as our first shape. As always, remembering you might want to pad underneath your knees. You might want to put something behind your knees. Might do that tonight myself. And bringing your toes, balls of the feet towards the floor and the weight of your body on top of them. And for today, we'll start with our toe squat, but we'll probably do it in a few shapes. You might like to practice using your Ujjayi breath And I'm sure you've both heard of this before because I know you've done yoga before this. So it's really just constricting the throat a little bit so that the breath sounds like the ocean. So it's kind of like you're making a sigh, but you're not opening the mouth, and you can hear that sound of the breath. And on the way in as well. So you can even close your eyes, imagine waves lapping to and from the shore with the sound of your breath. So our throat chakra is our truth energy center. So allowing us to speak the truth from our hearts out into the world. It's often a center that can really quickly show physical symptoms in the body if we're not speaking the truth. Having a sore throat, having a sore neck and shoulders, having a sore jaw because we're clenching our jaw, not speaking the truth out into the world. Often when you find yourself constantly clearing your throat or feeling croaky, there might be something going on with that energy. Remembering to ease off your toe squat at any point you need, just a little break from that stretch all the way along the bottoms of the feet. Letting go of any concerns about moving in the wrong direction as we stretch out our feet. Many women do struggle with throat chakra in our very patriarchal based society. Take your last few breaths in your toe squat for tonight. And then ease the weight off the feet and bringing them to tap the feet on the floor or shake them in the air. Noticing any change in the energy. Bottoms of my feet suddenly feel really hot. And knowing that we've opened up the energy channels, they've started to open up all through the body with stretching that fascia out on the feet. So we're going to do a shape next called rabbit. And this is the one where I would recommend that you have some extra padding underneath your head, because we're going to be directing the crown of the head towards the floor. And personally, I find it quite uncomfortable to not have a little pillow or blanket or something, but you can play around with it. So the shape looks like this. So we're in all fours. We reach back and hold on to our heels, and then we're directing the crown of the head towards the floor. So lifting your backside up off the heels, and the crown of the head goes towards the floor, or as I recommend, towards something a bit soft and more comfortable. If that really doesn't work for you, just do a child's pose, dropping yourself back down onto your heels. So in that full expression of the rabbit shape, we're really opening up the back of the throat, but we obviously are compressing the front of the throat quite a lot. This will be another one that can be really nice for doing your Ujjayi breath, that ocean breath, as the throat is constricted anyway. This shape is reportedly very good for stimulating the immune system. So that's great for this time of year when we've got so many viruses floating around us. Getting a bit of a stretch into the upper back as well, across the shoulders. So all of these throat chakra areas getting a stretch. As you do the Ujjayi breath, just making sure that you are still directing the breath all the way down to the bottom of the belly. You're not holding the breath in the throat or in the chest, but still breathing into the bottom of the belly and releasing fully through that constricted throat. Taking your last few breaths in your rabbit shape. And then when you're ready, you can just move yourself to come into a child's pose just to relax after doing that shape. Letting yourself collapse against your thighs, letting the arms relax beside you. Noticing how you feel after doing that stretch, how the back of the neck feels. For our next shape, we're going to do what we call in yin a snail, which is similar to a plow in our yang yoga. However, we want to keep our spine quite rounded. So just bring yourself to sit, and then we're going to lie down. And you need a nice big prop that you're going to put underneath the pelvis. And then we're going to bring the legs up over the head. Sorry, I didn't have my prop prepared very well. So plow looks like this. So the legs go over the head. You can use your hands to add a little bit of extra weight to the legs. If that really will not work for you, then we have a very similar stretch. Just doing our forward fold, our caterpillar, or you can do the same stretch again, standing up and just doing a forward fold. So whichever option works best for you today. Doing the snail, we're again getting a stretch of the back of the neck and a bit of compression into the front of the throat. You don't have to have the legs completely straight. You can probably see mine are not completely straight. You can even drop the knees down more next to your torso, so it's kind of almost towards a happy baby. I'm just feeling after eating dinner that this isn't the most comfortable shape. It was much better first thing this morning. So big stretch for the backs of the legs, into the buttocks. Of course, you can keep doing an Ujjayi breath here. Once again, it's quite easy to do that. The throat is a bit constricted. The color of the throat chakra is turquoise or aquamarine. So we can think about our Ujjayi breath. It's the ocean, an aquamarine ocean lapping in and out of the shore, from the shore. So the energy, when it hits the color spectrum, or we're viewing it on the color spectrum, that's the color that it is. It's very handy to stimulate the energy using that color, wearing that color, especially around your throat or near your throat. Turquoise, the gemstone turquoise, is really good as a necklace. Take your last few breaths in your plow, or whichever other variation you've taken of this stretch of the back of the legs. And then when you're ready, moving slowly to bring the feet back down to the floor. Remove your prop. You might just like to move it just to underneath your knees, because we will be using it again. But just allowing yourself to relax then onto your back, whichever one of the versions of the shape you took. Just resting on the back. Noticing where you can feel energy flow. Noticing how the back of the neck and the throat feel. So we know that just like we do in our twists with our internal organs of the digestive system, when we're doing these shapes that compress the throat, then we're going to get that beautiful squeezing and soaking effect. So the minute we come out of a shape where the throat has been constricted, then we're allowing all the energy, nutrients, blood to flow into that area. That's really beneficial for the thyroid gland especially. So we're going to use our prop again in the same kind of position. So we're going to this time do a what is called a pontoon in yin. It's a supported bridge. So we want this prop once again underneath the pelvis, and then supported bridge looks like this. So we're propping up the pelvis and stretching the legs out at its full expression. You can bend your feet so it's more like a standard bridge shape. You might also feel like you want to have some more support underneath your head, even underneath the head, neck and shoulders, so the bridge is less accentuated. Just coming into whatever variation is good for you. So you can bring the arms over the head as well, which gives you even more of a stretch across the front of the torso, the chest, the shoulders. But you're very welcome to just keep the arms down by your sides or beside your prop. Whatever you feel is right for you tonight. So once again, in this shape, we're still really constricting that front of the throat, but stretching the back of the neck. So with all the chakras, the energy moves both to the front and the back of the body. So we can access it from either side. And there are areas in the body, in your system, where energy is able to enter and also able to leave. So they're very open to giving and receiving energy. And we can nourish our throat chakra using beautiful lubricating substances. So it loves to be nourished on the physical level with lots of water, warm or cool drinks depending on the weather. So in this cool weather, it's really nice to drink warm drinks. Lots of herbal teas, also soup. Anything warm and nourishing. Smoothies are also nice as well, so just being able to nourish the body using liquids. But I reckon smoothies are more of a summer thing. Definitely drinking lots of water, really important as well for all our energy systems, and especially for everything that's going on in the physical body. You need to give the body that hydration, that ability to move. It's like oiling all the cogs in the body by replacing the energy that is in it via water. Of course, as with every shape, feel free to make adjustments if you're feeling like you need to bring the feet to the floor rather than having the legs stretched out. If the lower back is feeling like this stretch is a lot, change where you've put your arms if you're getting too much of a stretch and you need a bit of relief. Or, of course, you can increase your stretch if you're feeling like everything's letting go. Might be a good time to put the arms over the head or stretch the legs out a bit more. The throat chakra also loves sea plants. So having seaweed, like what you eat with sushi, little dulse flakes that you can buy to sprinkle on your salads. Take your last few breaths in your pontoon. And then once again, bring the feet to the floor so you can lift up and move that support out from underneath the pelvis. Feel free to leave it behind the backs of your knees so you can just completely relax for a moment. It's quite nice to have something under the knees so we can press the lower back into the floor and it feels fully supported. For our next stretch, we're going to work into our shoulders. So really accessing one of those areas that is associated with our throat chakra. We're going to do the shoulder stretch that I like to call open wing. So if you come onto your belly, and I'm just going to do it facing this way so you can really see what I'm doing. So lying down on the belly, then we stretch one arm out to the side, and then we're going to roll ourselves onto that shoulder. You might want to have a support that you can rest your top knee on. You can also push yourself more onto the shoulder, putting that foot down on the floor. And your other arm can really go wherever you want it to go. You can stretch it out somewhere so you're getting more of a stretch into the top shoulder as well, but I prefer to just really leave it resting. Just remembering as well that changing the angle of the arm. So if you bring the arm further down towards the body, that's going to reduce the stretching to the shoulders. So you might find that that is a lot more comfortable for you. So just playing around with where you have that arm out. It doesn't have to necessarily be out at right angles from the shoulder. You might drop it down more to like a 45-degree angle or anywhere in between, even less, just so you're getting the right stretch for you into that shoulder that you're rolling onto. Really great for all of us who hold so much stress and tension in our shoulders. Allowing us to let go of overwhelm, to let go of sense of responsibility for things that we just don't need to be responsible for. Letting go of being all work and no play. So with the element of sound being so important for the throat chakra, so using the voice in any way is going to help to stimulate and balance that energy. Singing, chanting, even just humming, anything that gets those vocal cords vibrating. It'll be great for accessing and stimulating our throat chakra energy. And I would say our large intestine meridian energy as well. Obviously, speaking is great too. But we just want to watch how fast we're speaking, how loud we're speaking. When we have excesses in volume or speed, that can indicate perhaps some imbalance with the throat chakra. That can mean speaking really slowly or softly as well. All of any ends of the spectrum can indicate imbalance. Taking your last few breaths in your open wing. And then let yourself roll back onto the belly, bring the arms in beside the body, and just have a rest on the belly. And then slowly and gently roll yourself all the way around back onto your back. And we're going to do a twist before we do our second side of open wing. So we'll just give the upper body a bit of a rest. And we're going to do a twisted roots. So this is a lying twist. So if you just lie on your back, bring the knees up towards the ceiling, feet on the floor. And then if you cross your left leg over the top of your right leg, and then we're going to drop the knees down to the right. You might want to have, again, a support for the knees to drop down onto. You can open your arms out to the sides. You can turn your head to the left. So you're getting that extra bit of twist in the top of the spine. You can choose to put your arms anywhere else as well. You might even want to put the hands above the head. Depends on where you need to get more of a stretch into. So it is really nice with our focus on throat chakra if you can twist the head towards the left as well. So we're just getting that throat chakra area of the spine, the very upper vertebrae of the spine, twisting as well as the rest of the spine. So put our pelvis facing towards the right, our chest facing towards the ceiling, and hopefully our head facing towards the left. So we're really wringing out the whole spine. Noticing with the throat chakra as well, whether you do like to wear things around your neck. Sometimes if we do this a bit obsessively, we're always covering up the throat. That can indicate an imbalance there as well. Obviously, in the cooler weather, it's nice to do that. We're just trying to notice your behavior and bring in some balance of doing the opposite thing where you can. So now, as always, with a twist, we're giving our internal organs that compression, that wringing out like a sponge. Sending energy to the whole digestive system, which is great when we've just eaten a meal. Or indeed when we are about to eat one. It's taking your last few breaths in your twist. And then removing the support if you had something under the knees and letting yourself roll right over onto the belly to have a rest again. Just relaxing down on the belly. Noticing whether the two sides of the body feel different to each other after we've done 2 stretches on one side each, not necessarily the same side. And then we're going to come to do our open wing on the other side. So hopefully you know which arm you had stretched out to the side first. And lying down on the belly, bring the other arm out and rolling onto the opposite shoulder. I don't even remember which one I did. Now I do. So just remembering you might want to put a support underneath the top knee, or you might want to prop yourself up with the foot so you can put more pressure onto stretching the shoulder, and remembering to adjust the position of your arm if it's too much of a stretch for the shoulder to have the arm out at right angles, then drop that angle down a little bit. As well as drinking and liquid foods for the throat chakra, then all the beautiful moisture we can get to lubricate our truth through fruit is great. So any juicy fruits, especially at the moment, the ones that are in season like oranges and pears, kiwi fruit, all really nice for the throat. Of course, as we talk about sound, it's really important as well to bring in silence. So we'll bring a bit of silence into our last couple of shapes. Noticing the sounds of your body, perhaps bringing in your Ujjayi breath again. Taking your last few breaths in your open wing. And then letting yourself relax down, coming out of the stretch. You can either rest on the belly or the back. We will be moving on to the back for our second twist. So yogi's choice of which side you'd rather rest on before that. And then bringing yourself onto your back to prepare to get into our second side of twisted roots. So lying on your back, feet on the floor, knees to the ceiling, crossing the right leg over the left leg this time and dropping the knees down to the left side, remembering to support under the knees if you want to. Opening the arms to the side and twisting the head to the right if you're able to do that. Also, I should have said on the first side, if it's just too much to have the legs crossed over, you can just have them stacked, knees stacked on top of each other. That's a bit less of a stretch into the top hip, the right hip on this side. Most important thing, as with any twist, is that our pelvis and our ribs are facing different directions. So once again, for the rest of this hold, let's just notice sounds from our body. Let's bring in the Ujjayi breath if we'd like to. Now it's time to take your last few breaths in your twisted roots. And then move slowly to bring your knees back up to the ceiling. Come out of the twist, bring yourself into a straight line. And it's time to bring yourself into your final relaxation shape for the class. Whatever you would like that to look like, feel like. Just making sure you're going to be very comfortable and very warm. And tonight I'm going to read a poem and then we'll have some more silence. So the poem is called Turton Mama, a poem for Maya Angelou, and it's by Frank McCowan. And there's a note that a Turton is a Buddhist teacher who is a revealer of lost treasures and the Dharma. And this is the poem. I once heard instructions from a wise woman, an eyebrow raised like a druid's sickle, she whispered magic. Words stick to walls, she said. They are alive and must be revered and softened, for they dwell wherever they land, wherever they travel, even in stone and in flesh. She was one who lost her speech once. Now she is a many-streamed Turton, a revealer. She knows the shaping power of words taken to air like a many-feathered dream, power to do and undo. She leans toward silence, away from the vexations of loud and rootless laughter. In her gleaming eyes, she sees a different world. Holy words, pillars of faith, in place of bars that divide us. A river, the power of the river flowing through our eyes. Holding hands to the arc of the sky, I blow forth a wordless prayer. Words before words. May her world be. May woman be invited home. bring your hands today to your throat or in front of your throat in prayer. Taking a moment to feel deep gratitude to yourself for taking the time out for this practice tonight. To feel deep gratitude for your body and all it does for you. To acknowledge all the teachers who've come before us, all the teachers who are here with us right now, and most of all, the teacher within. May you have dreams of truth in a deep sleep tonight. Thank you, Shanzai. Namaste.